want to talk more about the Iran perspective now. We're joined by Dr. Meir Javedanfar, an Iran lecturer at Reichman University in Tel Aviv. And Dr. Javedanfar, we heard from the U.S. president just a short while ago. He said all of the parties have come together to make this ceasefire happen, but also it wouldn't have helped or it wouldn't have begun without this nudge from the United States getting militarily involved against Iran. Did this truly set the ball rolling, and what does Iran think about all of this ceasefire right now?
Well, the ceasefire is against the interest of the Iranian regime. The Iranian regime was very happy when Prime Minister Netanyahu in March this year decided to break off the transition period from the stage one of the deal, which led to the release of some Israeli hostages. And instead of going to the second stage, which involved negotiations and ending the war, instead he went to war. The Iranian regime was very happy to see Israel bleed in Gaza, Israeli soldiers being killed in Gaza, Israel being sanctioned, and Israel being isolated in the EU because of Gaza. As far as the Iranian regime was concerned, it wanted the IDF to stay in Gaza forever and ever, amen, because this was something that was coming at a very high cost to Israel, and it was very much to Iran's interests. But to be honest with you, I don't know where President Trump, how he reaches this conclusion that the Iranian regime has for a while, for the last year or so, at least, if not 2 years ago, it has started losing its influence over Hamas to Qatar and Turkey. And I think this recent deal, another blow to the Iranians, is that the Qataris and the Turks are going to have much more influence over Hamas than Iran. They're going to have much more influence in Gaza than Iran. So I really don't know where this conclusion of President Trump comes from. The Iranian regime, what we had to do with the Iranian regime was more to do with its nuclear program during the 12-day war.
Right now, then, as you're saying, this is not in Iran's best interest. Is there the risk of then escalation? Is Iran likely to respond as it loses more and more of its terror proxies in the region to try and continue to have some sort of a grasp on power? Is now the time for Iran to strike Israel, or is that long far out of the past because of those actions with the U.S. president to strike the nuclear program?
You know, looking at the interest of the Islamic Republic of Iran right now, it would be very, very self-defeating in an extreme manner, even to start a war against the state of Israel, because the Iranian regime is weak. The Iranian regime's economy is on its knees. The Iranian regime has serious domestic issues to tend to, such as the water stoppages, such as lack of electricity. So based on those logics, I think it's very unlikely that the Iranian regime would undertake such a war. But let's also remember on the other side of the coin that prior to October 7th, we thought that an invasion of Israel by Hamas would be very self-defeating for Hamas, therefore we dismissed it. So I think on the one hand, we should take into consideration that because of domestic self-interests, it is and also because of the weakness of the Iranian regime, militarily especially, it is very unlikely that it would launch a war. But we should stay away from saying never, and we should always be on guard, because this is one of the lessons learned from October 7th.
Certainly, to continue to keep our eyes on all of the enemies that surround Israel, despite what a ceasefire could entail.
Absolutely.
Dr. Meir Javedanfar, thank you so much for being with us on I-24 News today.
Thank you.